Hello students, I, teacher Sheetal Gonsalves, welcome you all for our today's history session. Today we will be doing lesson number 3. The name of the topic is Effects of British Rule. Today in this video we are going to learn about establishment of British rule in India. Along with that we are also going to study about the different treaties signed between the British and the Marathas, and also we are going to study about Chhatrapati Pratap Singh. So let's begin with our topic. But before we move ahead, let's have a quick revision of a past lesson. My dear children, if you remember, that is Europe and India, we studied that how the history of Europe, that is in the phase of the medieval period, which is from 13th to 16th century, which came to be known as the period of Renaissance. Renaissance means new change, when new discoveries, new inventions were taken place. During that period, there were different reformations, religious reform movements and geographical discoveries, which laid the foundation of the modern era. Now, because of the geographical discoveries which took place, now, what were those geographical discoveries? Geographical discoveries means finding new routes, that is either by new land route to reach one place to another place, or new sea route, because during that time traveling was either by land or by sea. So finding new routes to reach various parts of the country or to travel from one country to another country. So during that time there was a lot of competition between the European countries and the other countries. Now why was this competition? This competition was for trade monopoly, and the biggest competition was with India, because India was one such country which was very well known, very famous for its spices, for its garments and for many other things. So most of the countries, most of the neighboring countries and the European countries all wanted to have trade relation with India. So because of that, the British established the East India Company on 31st December 1600 AD. Now the Britishers founded this East India Company. Now how did they found it? Who was the founder and what is East India Company known? We will discuss this later. But before this, let's understand that what were these geographical discoveries. So what you studied in your last lesson, I have just kept a recap over here, that among the geographical discoveries, the most important were the main 3 sea routes. One is which took place in 1487 AD when Bartholomew Dias reached the tip of African continent. Actually, he wanted to travel to India. He wanted to reach India, but as you can see, the African continent, the South Africa continent and the Indian continent, the tip are resembling the same. So he reached the African continent, and when he went there, when he landed on the continent, he came to know that this is not India but this is Africa, and it was named as Cape of Good Hope because he landed on that continent with a good intention, with a good vision. So he named that place as Cape of Good Hope. The second important discovery of which took place was when Christopher Columbus, right, the person who was well known as a voyager. Voyager means a person who travels by sea routes, or the person who travels by water route. Okay, so Christopher Columbus in 1492 AD, he reached the eastern coast of the continent of America. Further also, this voyage was being carried out with his members. And the third important thing means the person who actually found it out that this is the coast of India, he was none other than the Portuguese sailor Vasco da Gama. So in 1498 AD, the Portuguese sailor Vasco da Gama reached the Indian coast in Calicut. Now because of Vasco da Gama, when he founded the route to reach India, Portuguese were the first to start their trading relationship with the Indians. So they had already reached the Indian continent and they had already started with the trades with India. And when Britishers came in India, they had the competition. Now, what was this competition? How the Britishers tackle it? Let us see. Now, to go in detail, let's understand the establishment of East India Company. Now, what this East India Company means, or who started this East India Company? The East India Company, also known as Honorable East India Company, or it is also known as the British East India Company. The founder of this company, the East India Company, which was started, was John Wax, and this company was founded in the year 31st December. The date is 31st December 1600 AD. Now, the purpose of this East India Company, because it was an English company, the purpose of why it was formed, this company was formed for the exploitation. Exploitation means, you can say, to remove all the things or to spoil something, for the exploitation of trade with East and Southeast Asia and India. Okay, so it was mainly to create a monopolistic trading body so that England could participate in East India spice trade. So when the Britishers entered into this trade, okay, with India, when they came, they saw that already in the Indian continent there were different other people, other rulers or other countries who were there. Now, who were there? So all the other European, that is including the Portuguese, the Dutch, French, and along with them the British, entered the Indian coast for capturing the Indian trade market. Now, to establish their domination, that is, the Britishers wanted that they should have their own rule in India, and for that they wanted to clear this oppositions or the competition which was there between the French, the Dutch and all. So what did they do? They joined hand with the Portuguese, that is, they became friendly to the Portuguese, and they started settling down all their bitter resistance. That is, they started finding new ways that, okay, they made friendship with the Portuguese traders, and slowly the Britishers, they started establishing their own domination, their own rule over India. But along with that, what was the other important point which the Britishers were facing? That is the opposition part. That is, they had to face the opposition, that is, the on the other part, each side, two sides are there. So on the other side, they had to face the oppositions from the French, Dutch and the local rulers. Now, moving ahead, the Britishers slowly started, that is, they reached the coast of India, then Goa, and slowly they came into Maharashtra. Maharashtra at that time was under the rule of the Maratha powers. Okay, now the Maratha powers were very strong, because during that time we had the Peshwas, we had the Shindes, the Holkars, the Bhosles, right? Remember Shivaji Maharaj? Yes. So the Maratha power had a very strong base, because these were the people, or you can call these were the important families who were ruling over Maharashtra. Now Mumbai was the main center. We all know Mumbai is the capital, the financial capital of Maharashtra even today. And you know that many people all over the country of India, they plan to Mumbai for their daily livelihood, for their work, their jobs, their education. So Britishers also understood that Mumbai was the main center at that time. So what happened? Okay, the Britishers, they wanted to capture. Now they wanted to capture, so they had to make friendly relationship with the Marathas. Okay, and most of the territories were under the domination of Marathas. During that time, Peshwas were in rule. So at that moment, Peshwa Madhav Rao, who was there, he was ruling over the Maratha supremacy. But after his death, his uncle Raghunath Rao approached with the Britishers. Why he approached to the Britishers? Because he wanted to become the ruler, he wanted to become the king, or he wanted to rule over the Maratha. So he wanted the Peshwai, and he told the Britishers that he will help them in establishing their dominance in the Maratha supremacy. So he joined hand with the British so that he can become the Peshwa, and he will also make the Britishers enter into the Maratha politics. But what happened after that? During that period, that is from 1774 to 1818, the war fought between the Marathas and the British. Now what were these three wars? These three wars came to be known as the Anglo-Maratha War. Now during that time, the first war which was fought between the Marathas and the British, the Marathas fought unitedly with the Britishers. They did not surrender to the Britishers at all. They fought the war and they won it. But at that time, in 1782, they signed a treaty, and that treaty means you can call it as an agreement or a deed. Okay, so the treaty came to be known as the Treaty of Salbai, and according to this treaty, the first Anglo-Maratha War came to an end. That is, the Britishers and the Maratha, they came up with some important points where they will end up with this war. So the first Anglo-Maratha War came to the end with the Treaty of Salbai. Not only this, slowly to capture, the Britishers saw that the Maratha power is too strong and they want to actually enter into the Maratha supremacy. So they came up with another new idea. Britishers never gave up. What was that new idea? They came up with another new plan, another new agreement, or another new treaty. And that treaty was known as the Subsidiary Alliance Treaty. Now, what was the Subsidiary Alliance and who started? This Subsidiary Alliance was been started by Lord Wellesley, who was invited or who was sent to India in the year 1798 as the Governor General. That is, the Britishers, the East India Company, sent Lord Wellesley in 1798 to India as the Governor General. Now, when he came up with the idea of Subsidiary Alliance. Now, what is the meaning of Subsidiary Alliance? The Subsidiary Alliance system was a method started by Lord Wellesley to subjugate, that is, completely bring under the control. What was to whom it was to bring under the control? The control that the Indian powers without spending money or fighting wars. That is, if it was between the Britishers and the Indian rulers. Any Indian rulers who will sign this subsidiary alliances, that Indian rulers will have to follow the rules, the norms and the regulations of the Britishers. Now, according to this system, the Indian rulers who felt threatened by the external attacks and internal revolt could take help from the English and enter into an alliance, that is, a partnership with them. The English would then take the responsibility of protecting the rulers. So, in order to establish the British dominance all over India, Lord Wellesley signed with many Indian rulers the subsidiary alliances. Now, because of these alliances, what happened? The many Indian rulers have to maintain a British army in their court. In their court means in their own kingdom, along with their army, a British army or military or a troop of Britishers was also been there. Now, this was not only that much, but that particular ruler have to look after the maintenance, have to pay the soldiers their salaries, either it was in cash or by giving away a part of their territories to that particular British army group. So the maintenance of the British army was to be looked after by the Indian ruler. Not only that, according to this alliance, the Indian ruler will not sign any other agreement with any other party, or not even they will have a war with any other party unless and until they have the collaboration, or unless and until they talk to the East India or to the Britishers. So the rulers who accepted, the Indian rulers who accepted this subsidiary alliances, okay, the Britishers started residing in the particular state of that ruler, and slowly those Indian rulers who signed this alliance, they started losing their freedom.